Hi, I'm Mark. This is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today we're going to be unboxing and setting up the Fame MPS DD-1000 MSE drum kit. Now, this drum kit comes from musicstore.com, which was also known as DV-247 for many years, and it's literally just arrived today. This is something I've purchased for myself, and I was looking at it alongside the Millennium 1000 kit, which is similarly a kind of hybrid drum kit, but from Tomman. Now, the reason I went for this kit over the Tomman one was kind of twofold. Now, firstly, on a purely aesthetic reasons, I actually preferred the layout of this kit. By which I mean the finish is a kind of nice black with sparkles on, which you'll see in a second, but also that the toms are rack mounted rather than mounted on the kick drum, and personally I prefer that. Now, I've had a Roland TD-1K electric drum kit for many years after selling my original kind of proper acoustic kit about 10-12 years ago. And the electric kit's fine for kind of recording, but it's not as fun to play, and so I don't really touch it very often. So I wanted to get a hybrid kit that I could fit in my room, but also one that was going to be fun to play. So I've actually already unboxed this, but in this video I'm going to show you the setup process, and I'm going to show you everything you get with it, and then I'm going to do a full review on this channel, which will be out in about a month's time, because I want to have plenty of time just to kind of hammer through it. But let's get into kind of the spec. So this kit costs around £849, so it's not a cheap electric kit, but it's certainly cheaper than some of the hybrids from Roland. Now, this isn't going to be a full comparison with the Tomman equivalent, but there are a few key differences. And essentially, if you look at it, the key differences are that the module has less built-in sounds, although not a huge amount less, but the module is slightly different. For me, that doesn't matter because I tend to plug my drums straight into my laptop and replace the sounds with Easy Drummer. The other difference is that the toms are very slightly smaller, so you've got two 10-inch toms and a 13-inch floor tom with this kit. The Tomman ones are slightly larger, and the same goes for the cymbals, but these are still pretty big cymbals, and so I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference for me playing it. The other difference, which was actually the other reason I went for this kit, other than kind of aesthetics, is that the bass drum isn't as deep. That means it's not going to take up quite as much space because I don't have a huge office, as you're going to see in this video. So let's check out what you get with the kit. Okay, so I've got everything kind of unboxed and dumped around here. You can see my old Roland kit just there as well, which I've just moved out of the way. So we've got a few different things. So we've got our two 10-inch toms there. They're kind of rack-mounted ones. We've got the floor tom over there. You can see it's obviously not as big as a normal floor tom, but it is still pretty big. And that is a 13-inch floor tom. We've got our snare drum just there. We'll look at this all a bit closer in a second, and that's a 13-inch snare as well. All of these toms and the snare have kind of rim shots that work as well. And then we got the kick drum, and like I said, it's not as deep as some kick drums, especially the Tomman one, which means it is going to fit a bit better. And you can see we've basically got the plug for all the electrics in here, so it looks like a real kit, but it is actually an electric kit, so it should be nice and quiet as well. When I do my full review, I will do a kind of loudness test when just playing it for you. The only thing you don't get with this kit is a drum stool, which I've already got. Everything else is included, so let's check out what we get. So obviously we've got the drums here. If we come down here, so we've got a hi-hat here. It comes in two parts, which are just there. And then we've got our two crashes here as well. You'll see these unwrapped in a minute. So we've got a ride here. It's got two outputs because there's different things this pad can do. And I'll go into all of that in the full review and probably in a bit of a demo shortly. We've got our module here, which we'll take out when we come to plug it in. We obviously got the standard kind of cable snake. We've got an extra jack cable. We've got the snare just here. We've got the floor tom there. And then we've got some hardware. Obviously, one thing to note is it does have two extra outputs. So if you wanted to add extra cymbals, drums, you could. So in terms of hardware, we've got various stands kicking around. These are all double braced, which is really nice. We've got these clamps for attaching things. We've got a nice kick drum pedal here as well. We've got the sides for the floor toms, and obviously all your cymbal stands. And like I said, these are all double braced. These are boom stands from the looks of it. And it all just feels kind of really well made. So let's get it all out of plastic and start getting it set up. Okay, we've got all the hardware unpacked and kind of folded out apart from the legs for the floor tom. So let's get everything set up in the other room. Okay, so we're just assembling the hi-hat stand. There's a few things to point out. So firstly, you've got this bit here, which comes separately. You have to use one of the Allen keys that comes with it in order to kind of undo these initially so you can get this mounted onto here. So, and then you just tighten it up. So I'm actually going to just loosen this a little bit. So you want this basically so it can't move anywhere. And you get these little straps. And these are going to go through there and basically hold the bottom on. So the bottom of the hi-hat looks like this. So we're going to slide this on top like that. I mean, all of this is pretty, pun intended, old hat if you've had a drum kit before. So this is obviously just going to sit on like this. And then what we're going to do is going to use those straps to secure it. So I'll just show you that here. So you've obviously got a bottom of that there. So you want the jack towards the outside. Okay, so we've got the side where there's no jack, which we want to be facing the drummer because you don't want cables in your way. So we've got a jack there, and jack at the back. So we're going to keep it like that. So we're going to need to rotate that so the clamp is going to go through there. Okay, so you can see the clamps, basically it holds on here. So that bit threads up through there, it goes through the top and it sticks to itself. So if I show you one of the spare ones, I think these are spare ones, you obviously got this bit kind of just holds it onto that. So that will stop that being able to move very far, which is what you want. You can obviously tighten these a bit more if you need to, just by pulling that. And if you haven't got any Velcro to attach it to, you can move that further down as well. So the next step is to assemble the top hat and the clutch. So we're just going to unscrew this bit off of here. Okay, so to get this disassembled, you need to use your Allen key again to loosen that which is on the top. And then you'll end up with these three parts. So we've got this, we've got a bit of foam, which should actually be under that. So I'm going to screw that, put it on, and then that goes on the top. Okay, so this, just like this, is going to go through the hat to start with. And go up. So there's the bottom of the hat, that's going to go through it. Okay, so you can see that. So we're going to put the foam on, and then we're going to tighten up the washer and then put the top back on. Okay, you can see all that's attached. So the next step is going to be to assemble it both together. And to do that, we're going to need this little rubber gasket. And that's going to go over the top like that and sit on there. And then this is going to go, but we're also going to need to use this link cable. So we're going to plop that in link on there, and that's going to go onto link on the other side. So let me do that. Okay, so that's our hi-hat assembly. You can see the link cable is just there, going from there to there. And of course, I've kept this quite open. I'm not going to play it like this, but you can trigger that like that. It's like an actual hi-hat. And that's got a little bit of wobble. We might need to tighten those later on, but we'll see how it goes when we start playing. Okay, so now I've got it all set up. Let me just take you through everything you've got here. So if I just zoom in on one of the drums to start with, you'll see this kind of sparkly effect that I was talking about. It's quite difficult to show up on camera because it is quite a subtle sparkle, but it is really nice. I personally am a big fan of it. So here's everything you get. So obviously you get the kick drum. All of the drums connect with these 1/4" jack cables, which literally just go in like that. These feel pretty well made. They obviously branded for fame. What we've got on the sides is little screws. So if you ever need to take these off in order to perhaps kind of tighten something up or check a cable, you could do that. All of the drum heads have got this fame branding on the top, and the bottom is clear, so you kind of essentially know which way around it goes, although it's pretty obvious from where the clamps fit in. So we've got a hi-hat here. This is two-part, there's a link cable in the middle. I showed you that way setting it up. That was the trickiest part to set up, but actually it didn't seem to need any calibration. So when I've been playing around with this kit over the last day, because this is actually a day later that I'm filming this, it just kind of works straight away. It seems to be pretty responsive, but I'll talk more about it in the full review. So we've got obviously hi-hat here. You've got all three of your cymbal stands are all boom stands, which is really nice. So they can come out like that if you need to for angling them. That one I've just kept in. You do get a few cable clips like this with it, which are designed to kind of tidy the cables away a bit. They're obviously quite loose, if I'm honest. If I was going to tidy the cables properly, which I might do at some point, I would probably use Velcro ties around these instead. I will put a link below to some Velcro ties that I use for cables. It's better than tape because it doesn't leave any residue, and obviously they're reusable as well. Now on the kind of main videos, they always show the module to the left of the hi-hat stand, and it does just clamp on with this. I've put the module here because I feel like that makes a bit more sense for how I'm using it. The one thing I don't like is that you can't angle it towards you. I feel like that ought to be able to be kind of angled a bit, but you can't. But as a whole, everything you get with the kit, so you get all these double brace stands. Literally the only things you don't get that you will probably need are some headphones. Here's some I've got earlier, reviewed them on this channel a while back. Drumsticks I had already, and a drum stool, which I'm currently sat on. So you can get a kit that includes all three of those things, but obviously out of the box you don't get the sticks, you don't get the headphones, you don't get the stool. But what you do get is, so you've got these two toms. These are rack mounted, which means they are mounted to the cymbal stand nearby, so that one to that one, and that one to that one. I personally prefer this approach for toms, because if you wanted to, you could then take this tom out away and put your ride cymbal there and kind of go for like a Travis Barker kind of style setup. You've got your floor tom down here, you've got your ride here, and then you've got your two cymbals. And you've also got the snare just here, which is also on a double brace stand, which you can adjust from below. All of the drums have these where you can adjust the kind of tension of the head if you want to, with drum keys that are included. With your cymbals, you've got to have them this way around. So you've got this kind of choke area at the front, so both of your crashes can be choked if you want to. And then on the ride, you've got the front area, which kind of gives it a more crashy sound. You've got the main body, which gives you your typical ride sound, and you've got the bell as well. So these are three zones. On the snare, you can use the rim as well as the body, so you can get like a nice click if you want to. And then all of the other toms are just single. The other thing I'll say about the module while I'm making this video is that it is Bluetooth built in, but the manual doesn't tell you how to connect to it. So I had to reach out to DD-1000 or Music Store, whatever you want to call them, and ask how to do that. Basically, the Bluetooth is always on by default, so you just have to connect to it on your phone. I'll put in text below the name of the device you connect to if you're struggling. And there's no passcode, so you just connect to it and it'll start sending music to the module and come through the headphones or whatever output you've got on the module itself. So there you go. In this video, I have just unboxed this kit. I've shown you everything you get in it. And it is actually about 2 days since actually making some of those other clips because I wanted to give it a go first. And initially, I'm really impressed. I haven't had to calibrate anything, which is always good. But what I'm going to do is make a full review. So I'm just overlaying this with some clips of me playing the kit. But I'm going to make a full review of this kit, which I'm going to put out in about a month. I'm going to share all of my thoughts. I'm going to share some samples from the kit itself. I'm going to talk about using it via USB with a Mac and something like Easy Drummer. Talk about how sensitive the pads are, what it's like to play, whether it feels like a real kit or not. All that kind of stuff, and hopefully help you guys understand whether this kit is something worth spending the money on or not. I will also make a comparison video with the kind of Tomman equivalent. As I said, both are basically the same price. There are some differences. I obviously haven't tried the Tomman one, but I will do a kind of comparison video helping you understand the key differences between those as well. That will be out at some point beyond that review as well. In the meantime, I'm going to put some links below for the Velcro straps that I talked about. I'll also put a link to the kit. You can find it on Music Store's website, but if you're in Europe, or rather the European Union, you can actually get it on Amazon, so we'll put an Amazon link below as well. Now, one thing just to note, if you are a UK resident looking at ordering one of these, is if you go on a website, it says it's £849 with free shipping. You'll get through the whole order process, place the order, and then you'll get an email from one of their team saying, oh, you've actually got £25 extra to pay for shipping because of the size of the item. Now, that email does say you can either pay it or have a refund, and I did kick back a little bit about it because I do think if your website says it's free, it ought to be free, but they wouldn't budge on it. So it's something to bear in mind. So actually, this is technically more expensive than the Tomman kit because it's actually £875. I did speak to one of their team in Romford who was really helpful, who said basically it costs them about £80 to ship. So when it gets to that point, because there's 4 packages, they do charge the customer more. Now, as someone who works in web development, that should be built into their website. That should be a function that shows at checkout. It shouldn't show as free and then try and charge someone later. There's clearly something going on with the website that means they can't customize what they need to. And I do think they need to sort that out. But just something to bear in mind if you live in the UK. But other than that, so far, I'm pretty happy with the kit. It seems to play really nicely. It feels nice to play. But I'm going to do a full review and I'll go through samples of the kit as well and show you all the sounds and everything that comes with it. If you want to see that, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you guys again soon.